What's up, guys? Jordan Weber here. This is not a typical album review. I was ready to go to bed. I was just about to go to bed, and then I see this thing on Twitter about this guy named Bob Ezrin going at Kanye, just basically saying he's not deserving of the accolades and the achievements that everyone says that he is. He basically says that he's not as culturally impactful and pales in comparison in terms of skill, both lyrically and production wise, that to many other people. So, on some background with Bob Ezrin, he produced some albums for people like Pink Floyd, Kiss, Lou Reed. Those are all people. They're all rock and roll artists, at least through my knowledge, they are. So he obviously, and apparently those albums are pretty classic albums. So he obviously knows some. He knows how to make music, but that doesn't mean that he knows anything about hip hop culture, hip hop music in general, what is culturally impactful and what is not. So yeah, I'm gonna read you some of the things that he said, and I'm kind of just gonna counter everything that he says. So first he says, in spite of what the media says about him, unlike other creators in his genre like Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, or even MC Hammer for that matter, it's unlikely that we'll be quoting too many of Kanye's songs 20 years from now. First of all, I Jay-Z doesn't have that extreme amount of quotables. I mean, he's definitely a great artist. I like him a lot, but he's not a quotable rapper in the same way that he's that Ezrin is he's saying that Jay-Z is this great quotable rapper, and I don't really feel like that's true at all. Then he goes on to say MC Hammer, which quite honestly, this is probably just an ignorance of his music. For me, I haven't listened to much MC Hammer, but the only quotable I know is "Can't Touch This." At least that's all I know. Kanye definitely has a lot of quotables. "Gold Digger" will be sung for the next 20 years, definitely. Songs like, I would even argue, "All of the Lights" could be quoted. "Power." I mean, there's so many songs that he's made that I definitely think will be quoted for years to come. And then he goes on to say he didn't open up new avenues of public discourse like NWA, or introduce the world to a new art form like Grandmaster Flash, or even meaningfully and memorably address social issues through his music like Marshall Mathers, Macklemore, and Kendrick Lamar. So the first point, he didn't open up new avenues of public discourse like NWA. I would say that's an accurate assessment of Kanye West. I don't think he was ever meant to be this kind of public discourse person about rebelling, and I don't think that was ever his purpose. But then his next thing, introduce the world to a new art form like Grandmaster Flash. I definitely disagree with that. This was Kanye came out in a time where kind of the bling era was kind of the thing, and then this kind of just like rapping about, braggadocious rap, and then Kanye comes with like a pink polo, with the classic pink polo, comes with that, and it's totally different. I think he started or at least had a part in starting a new genre for hip hop music, so that's totally wrong. And then he doesn't meaningfully and memorably address social issues through his music like Eminem, Macklemore, and Kendrick. So I'm a good big fan of all three of those artists. I love Eminem, I love Macklemore, and I love Kendrick Lamar. However, I would argue that Eminem talks about social issues less than Kanye West does. I mean, if you've heard Kanye West, "We Don't Care," that was all about, actually that entire album that "We Don't Care" was on, was basically about how not accepting the school way of going and kind of dedicating yourself to art, and but also not, drug dealing. That's definitely a social issue that he addressed, and that's a pretty memorable song. That's one of my favorite songs by Kanye. And then Eminem talks about like killing his wife and other things, and I love Eminem. I think he's one of the greatest of all time, but he definitely talks about social issues, but not in the same way that Kanye does. I don't feel like Macklemore talks about social issues, but at the same time, Bob Ezrin doesn't seem to understand the backlash that has followed Macklemore through his entire career. Well, not his entire career, but recently when he got more popular. I've always been a supporter of Macklemore since around 2005. Well, I've liked his stuff that he brought out in 2005, but I liked him since my freshman year of high school, so like 2000, I guess that would be 2011. I've always been a fan of him, and he definitely talks about social issues, but he's also not accepted by a lot of people in hip hop culture, particularly fans. Um, so I don't understand why Bob Ezrin would throw his name in there. And then Kendrick Lamar, okay, yeah, he talks about social issues all the time. He's probably the greatest art rapper right now. Um, but the fact that it seems that he needed to put like two white artists in here because later on he does the same thing. I have a problem with him putting two white artists and then like, I should probably put a black artist so it doesn't look like I'm, appropriating the culture. And then he ended Kendrick at the end. That seemed kind of suspicious to me. Then he goes on to say that Kanye's songwriting is sophomoric at best. Now, I've never been a fan, like, I don't really think that Kanye is that great of a lyricist. He's good, but I don't think he's one of the, like, top 10, in my opinion, in terms of lyrics, like, wordplay. It's definitely, he's definitely quotable, as I said earlier, but, like, the actual, like, I guess, wordplay and skill with words is not the greatest ever, so, but it's not sophomoric. It's definitely one of the top, I'd say, 20 lyricists of all time. And then he says his production skills pale in comparison to the likes of Timbaland and Rick Rubin. I mean, those are both very, 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 very talented producers. But so was Kanye West, and he started off as a producer and then became a rapper. I don't know. You can say that he's this. He's not as good production-wise as those two. I definitely think he is. And then this thing about Rick Rubin is like, why do you have why he couldn't have said Dr. Dre, who is hailed as like one of the greatest producers of all time, but no, he has to throw the white guy in. This seems suspicious to me. And then he says, instead, Kanye's greatest achievements have been in the form of excessive behavior, egomaniacal tantrums, and tasteless grandstanding. Those have been distractions, and he's been an asshole lately, but Kanye is known for a lot more than that. Throughout, at least people that know him in hip-hop culture, they know him for his music and his incredible talent rapping and producing music, not for his excessive behavior and egomaniacal tantrums. Yeah, so that's pretty much all he says, and it's just like, I'm tired of people like this hating on Kanye for this stuff. Like, I'm going to do a Life of Pablo review later, and it's okay to critique his music, but when you're trying to critique his cultural impact, I mean, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Yeah, have a good one.